You mentioned Florida State, Clemson. Let's go to that Death Valley. And Clemson is a 2.5-point dog at home. This one is interesting to me because it's another one of, have we seen the real version of these teams yet? Like, was the Florida State LSU game the best version of Florida State we're going to see all year? Or was that who they are? And Boston College was not who they are. Was Clemson Duke actually Clemson? Or was that the worst version of Clemson? Are they going to be better? Like, this is, again, when you go 0-0 whatever, like I did last weekend, it messes with your head.
Yes, it does. I understand. I'm 0 in my mortal locks on the college football show, and I'm the only one, so I totally feel you. This game is going to be super interesting for even people who are just looking at the playoff race. And I think that when you look at this slate, and I know we've talked about it, week 4 slate is awesome. But the fact that we have a lot of games that are going to really kind of kickstart the playoff conversation in September is great. And Florida State right now, I had them winning the ACC going into the season. I'm very high on Jordan Travis, but Clemson surprised me the way they lost to Duke in week 1. And of course, it being a standalone game, you go out and you lose by 21 points. Everyone's going to be talking about it. You know, the Dabo dynasty of being in the playoff, is it completely dead? What's going on? I'm scared of what Clemson's going to be able to do after they sit at home and for 2 weeks, they're just like kind of in the background, quietly just kicking the hell out of these teams. I think they've won a combined like 80 points, listening to everybody talk about it. They were
down to Charleston Southern in the second quarter. Let's not go crazy.
Well, I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, it's still Dabo, right? I mean, I understand he's behind in the transfer portal. I understand there's a lot of questions on how he's going to adapt to this new landscape of college football. He still knows how to win national titles. But with that being said, I really, really like Florida State. And I think what we saw against Boston College was a sleeper performance against a team that's not very good. And let's not act like we haven't seen that recently. I mean, Georgia did that with Kent State last year. Now, they won by more than 2, but it was still a situation where you're just like, okay, sometimes you have to give these teams these types of games. Is Jordan Travis completely healthy? That's a question that I have. I'm going to take Florida State here. I think that they win outright. But I don't know. Clemson's a scary storyline if you're a Florida State fan, because it still is Clemson. Now, what does Cade Klubnik look like? After all offseason, we heard how he was going to be the savior and how they ran DJ off to the West Coast for him. He didn't look that great against Duke. So can he look that great against Florida State? We'll see.
It has been since 2014 since Florida State won in this series. I was at that game. That was the Jameis Winston got suspended game.
Oh, yeah.
If Dabo starts Deshaun Watson instead of Cole Stout, Clemson wins that game pretty easily. Instead, it came down to the wire and Florida State wins it. I can't believe it's been that long.
I must say, the fact that it's 9 years ago is crazy.
Shocking. So
we're old. We're just old.
I know. I'm not going to overthink this one, Kayce. I saw Florida State against LSU. LSU has better talent than Clemson. Clemson has a decent amount of NFL dudes. LSU has more. And Florida State dominated them in the second half.
Yeah.
Dominated them. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm taking Florida State to win this thing.
Do it.
Which, if that happens, Clemson's probably out in the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
Barring a miracle run. Because if they lose one more, they're not playing in the ACC title game. And if you look at what they've got left, they could very easily lose another one in the ACC. So, yeah, I just think trying to cover Keon Coleman, trying to cover Johnny Wilson, trying to block Jared Verse, these are all very difficult things. And Jordan Travis, probably Riley Leonard is a better NFL prospect to do quarterback. Jordan Travis, though, probably a better college quarterback within the system he's in. I don't know. I'm not going to overthink this. Give me Florida State. All they got to do is win by a field goal. So
yeah,
I'll take it.
And it's also a testament to what the ACC looks like as of, in comparison to recent years. There's always Clemson and everybody else, right? Like we're saying, if Clemson loses this first ACC game, or not first ACC game, another ACC game, that they're out. Like that's good for this conference because it's just been Clemson and nobody.
Well, it's kind of exciting because you think about, is Miami in it? North Carolina's played very well so far this season. Duke looked great.
Isn't that crazy? Like, Brandon actually did this on Unnecessary Roughness where he was like, who's the front runner? Who's second? Who's third? And I got all the way to 3 and I was like, we're not even talking about Duke. Like Duke is in the mix right now. I mean, that's crazy to think about. And it's great. Like I said, great for the conference, but I agree with you. I think Florida State's going to win outright.
Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.